Hey, so I'm going to make a quick screen recording video about how to set up your in-context parts for the suspension and give them the correct part numbers. So this is the second time I'm doing it, so there may be a quicker way later, but I'll show you what I've got so far. So navigate to your PDM, all logged in and all that. Scroll down to our 700 series for suspension. Oh, sorry, before that we should open up our control sketch. I've already got that open, but so this is the master part with all the points in there, the 3D coordinates for the suspension. I've already got that open. Now we go down to our 700 suspension, and you can see this is one that I did already. So we'll go for the lower control arm assembly. So all these parts already exist, so we'll not be generating a new part number, but rather incrementing the revision. So this new, for the new lower control arm assembly on the left side, will be 700-103A. So I just need that to see that part number there. And now I go back to Solidworks. And so this is the control sketch right in here, right now. And what we want to start by doing is creating a new assembly. Make assembly from part. So now we're opening up a new assembly, and our suspension control sketch is already selected, and all we have to do is click the check mark. And now that automatically mates this assembly's origin to the origin of the control sketch, so all the coordinates are matched up. So now we'll go ahead and save this new assembly. And we can scroll down here to remember what our lower control arm assembly left is. So that's 700-103. But we don't want to replace it, so we're going to increment it, 103A. Okay, so you hit save there. And now this pop-up here is for PDM. And so you start by selecting the subsystem, and we are suspension and steering. But you notice here how it's already generated a new part number. But we don't want that because this is assuming it's a brand new part that doesn't exist yet. But since it's a revision, all we have to do is type in this box here, 103A, and that updates the part number to be the correct one for our revision. And then make sure you insert a description. So this is lower control arm assembly left, and project name for this one will be front suspension. Okay, and that should be all you need to fill out right there, and you hit OK. And so now this file that I have open is the assembly of the lower control arm. But we don't have the lower control arm part in yet. So what we do now is we go File, Insert, Component, and say New Part. So this is inserting a new part to exist inside this assembly. And so you just click anywhere, and now you see here this new part has shown up. It doesn't know what its name is yet, so you can go right click it and rename it. So you can refer back to here where we have lower control arm assembly left, but then this is just lower control arm left, so that's the part. So it's 700-105, and so we're going to be doing 700-105A for our new part. So rename 700-105A. And this part is still not saved yet, So we go save part in external file, and that will save it. We can specify the path, but it should already figured out that this is our PDM file folder here. So just hit OK, and that saves it there. But you notice it didn't pop up. So it said it's added to our vault, but it didn't pop up with that that message like the last one did. So what we're going to want to do is go back to PDM and find that new part, 700-105A. And yeah, you see there's no description here or anything. So that's empty. We want to fill that in. So we are suspension steering. And this is just the lower arm. And our part number is 105A. Created by the material 4130. And this is going to be a built component. So try and make sure you fill out as much of the information as you can. Some of it will be unknown at the time, but make sure you fill it out as soon as you do know. So, and then you go hit the little save button. Oh, alright, looks like we need to close the file from here before we can update it. So we'll just close out of this. And head back to our data card and save that. Okay, so that's saved. Now let's open up our assembly again. Lower control arm assembly left. And so here's our part. And so our part still doesn't have anything in it. It's just an empty part. So we're going to start editing the component in context. So up here, make sure you're on the assembly slide. And then hit edit component. Once you've got this component selected, it'll light up blue. And that shows that you're editing a part in context. And now we want to create a 3D sketch. So you click on the sketch tab and then you open up the 3D sketch drop down. And we're just going to be using points. Click on points. And we're just going to click on our 3 lower control arm pivot points. And check mark that when we're done with the points. Get rid of that and exit the sketch. So you'll notice that that sketch was fully defined when I edited out of it. And now we can exit editing the component. And even though it doesn't look like anything here, if we now open up this part, and then zoom to where it is, you can see these 3 little points here, and those are the lower control arm pivot points, and they will update based on where the points are in the control sketch, the master part. So that is how you set up an in-context part to begin your suspension modeling parts. You will sometimes need more than one sub-part for the assembly, so don't limit yourself to that, obviously, but this is the basic how-to.